Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome into the number one Group of Five college football show in the world. This is the Group of Five guys. Our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs, the voice that the mainstream sports media absolutely refuses to be. We need your help to do that. Hit the follow button on all the social platforms at Group of Five guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. Most importantly, tell your family and friends all about us. On this episode, we had some weird Wednesday and Thursday games. We got a big-time Friday game and a couple of big-time Saturday games. We also have to talk about my annual trip to Statesboro. Hope you enjoy the show. This is the Group of Five guys, and we are coming to you live.
They got Old Dominion week 3, and ODU is by no means a layup. The Group of Five guys told me that, so that has to be true.
We looked at each other, we was like, Mike, the best place to be is a Group of Five. So I'm sitting here with the Group of Five guys, right?
Troy has won, it's been a winner, and it's a special place, so it's why you want the job.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
It was across there. You want to have this thing packed out, have the student section packed out, giving those guys hell on the sideline. I mean, that's part of it for me.
Win or lose, like we're winning the tailgate.
There's no better place to be developed in this country than Boise State.
Jeff, I'm here.
Yes, you are.
I made it. I am alive and well. I am well rested.
You look a bit tired, pal.
I'm struggling, dude. I am down bad. I am I ain't gonna lie to you, Jeff. This reminds me of when we've been on trips and it's been a late game and we paint the town afterwards, and then we got a flight at 6 a.m. But you know what? I mean, I rolled back into town about I don't know what it was, 2:45, almost 3 o'clock in the morning, and laid the head down for about 2 hours. We got a podcast to do. There is no rest for the weary, and if we ain't got time to be messing around trying to sleep and recover, because we got to talk about football. And I mean, I may say some things that are way off because I'm not totally like, I still feel like I'm in the car driving.
Yeah.
And but yeah, dude, I'm freaking exhausted, buddy. And then I gotta go to work after this. So we'll see how that goes. Grinding all my life, Jeff. Grinding all my life. Well, we had some wild ones last night. Made me almost forget as I was logging in this morning. I was like, wait a minute, did we already talk about Middle and Missouri State? Did we already talk about Liberty and UTEP? And you and I have just in our daily complaints. But we hadn't talked about it on the show. So we got a lot to get to. Let's get to them. And we'll get to the Friday night games. We'll get to the Saturday games. But first, by the way, Jeff, Deca Gray ain't gonna cut it for me today. Devin, I love you. Deca Gray, you're a great product. You got a little caffeine in there, but when I talk about I need to caffeinate, urinate, and hydrate, I got to do it immediately. And we're gonna be looking for the most potent energy drink that they make, something I've never seen before. That's what I'm looking for at the local gas station on my way into the office today, and I hope I find it. But no, in all seriousness, check out decagrade.com. Use our promo code GOFG. It's damn good coffee. Roast to order coffee. You put in our promo code, it'll give you 10% off plus free shipping. Roast to order, whole bean, ground coffee, K-Cups, all available. Also, Levels Sports Picks. Jeff hit a couple last night already. It's Friday morning at 6 a.m. on a college football weekend, and Jeff has already hit on some college football plays.
Oh, yeah. We had Middle. We had Liberty the other night. Came through. And then huge play last night. Took 4 first drive punts. We had some great defenses last night, so I was like, you know what? I think these teams are going to come out, struggle to get the offense going early, and sure enough, 4 different teams last night, all first punts on their first drive. Big one last night.
Jeff in the chat, I'm here, buddy. You saw me live in Statesboro, so nobody will doubt the fact that I am running on absolute fumes. No, it's good to see everybody in Statesboro. Let's talk about these Wednesday games, and then we'll talk about last night's games a little bit. My trip to Statesboro. So let's just get it out of the way. Let's just freaking rip the Band-Aid off, Jeff. You were there, Missouri State, Middle Tennessee, 22-20, a missed 50-yard field goal attempt from our Blue Raiders. What else? What happened? Same song and dance or what?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I just, Missouri State, their offensive line might be worse than the Blue Raiders. I don't know. I mean, it was some rough football on both sides of the ball, but Missouri State did everything that they possibly could. It felt like it, especially in that second half, trying to give the Blue Raiders this game. Like, credit the front 7 of MTSU because they played, I thought, for pretty much the majority of the game, very, very well. They got pressure on Deuce, was causing them to throw errant passes. Other than there were 3 or 4 times where our secondary, I don't know if they just blew coverage. One, our corner doesn't even move, and the receiver just runs a go route right by him. So, you got to give credit to the young quarterback finding those guys because a couple of those big throws that went for touchdowns were under duress and pressure. I think Deuce has a chance to be a pretty big time player as he continues to learn and grow in that offense. But basically what you had was, again, MTSU just not being able to cover in the back end, giving up explosive plays, and then offensively struggled to run the ball, but Jaquel Middlebrook played his ass off. I mean, they were giving him the ball. He looked like Dan Mashingenti out there for my Raiders, breaking 2 or 3 tackles behind the line of scrimmage to get something positive, and he did that the entire first half. Thought he looked well. We get a big post for a touchdown play action post to Cameron Lacey, and then in the second half, we don't throw another deep ball. We don't challenge Missouri State at all in the vertical passing game. We don't even take an attempt. And I can't understand it. They're begging you based off of their coverage and the box that they're begging you to throw a go ball. And the way our team is built, Sprouse, we don't reset the line of scrimmage at the offensive line position. You're not a power run team. I'm personally just tired of seeing 2 tight end sets or a tight end and a fullback. And you're trying to shift. The only success we've really had all year offensively is when we go tempo, when we go fast in 2-minute situations. But yet we refuse to go fast throughout the game unless we have to because of the time. And all of our talent, if you just assess our roster, our explosive players are at wideout and Jaquel Middlebrook. Why we don't push the ball vertically is beyond me. We have 6'4", 6'3", 6'3" on the outside. And then you have Cameron Lacey who can burn and run, who's a smaller guy, but can still take the top off. And we don't take one deep shot in the second half. I mean, as a rule, as an offensive coordinator, you should be throwing one deep ball to a quarter, at least, minimum, just to keep the defense honest. And when you don't do that, and then you have the lead, then you give it up, and you're driving down to win the game, you run the ball 3 times in a row after you cross the 50 and bank on your kicker to make a 50-yard field goal. They played super conservative. They played not to lose instead of play to win. And you get beat in a game that you should have won by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and the only thing I want to say is Deuce Bailey, you're right. I think he's got a lot of potential, but I'll tell you one thing. He has got to quit holding the damn ball way out. Yeah. One hand, just off to the side, it seems like. Because he's gonna turn it over a bunch when he against a good defense. But yeah, dude, it was frustrating to watch. The atmosphere was as expected, 0 atmosphere. And, again, we can talk all we want about administration and athletic department, and we can complain about fans and all that, but, everybody's got to be accountable. And everybody also, I will say, Jeff, that gets on social media and talks about how bad it is and this and that. And you're right. You're not wrong. But it's the last time you've been to a game, the last time you made a contribution, whether it be in a positive light. When they win, are we saying anything? It's like we want them, we want them to be good, but we only say stuff when they're bad. And that kills me. Anyway, we gotta move on, Jeff. I gotta get this day over with and get back to sleep. Liberty at UTEP. This was all the games were a little sloppy the last couple of days. Now, I didn't get a chance to watch much of the games from last night outside of the Georgia Southern one, but I want to talk about UTEP for a second. So Liberty gets to win 19-8. You've been talking about feeling bad for Malachi Nelson, more so because he hasn't seemed to find a fit anywhere. But I was watching that game in between watching the middle game, and you look at his numbers. He goes 4 of 10 for 21 yards. Okay, not a good line. But he had probably 3 easy dropped balls, at least one on a big deep ball. So you at least should be 7 of 10 for 100. At that point, which is not amazing, but it's not terrible. And then, they kind of were rotating with him and Locklear, and Locklear came in and did some nice things. It seems to me that Locklear has the locker room. And so that's a decision Scotty Walden's going to have to make, and probably sooner rather than later. But it just looks like there's a bit of a energy buzz, a bit of a spark when Locklear comes in. But I feel bad for Malachi Nelson. And then there was one point when it was 3rd and 5, and they just do a straight up dive right up the middle. It gets nothing. And then, I don't necessarily appreciate or like, it seemed like at times Nelson and Scotty Walden were maybe arguing on the sideline, right on the freaking camera. And while I don't like that, and I don't like some of the body language that the quarterback's showing, I get it a little bit, because I can guarantee you when they're trying to get him to go to UTEP, they're promising a lot of stuff. We're going to throw it all over the place. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And maybe it's because he hasn't performed, but they're not doing those things. And so, again, you got to play in the system. You got to run the plays the coach calls. You got to do that. You got to have good body language. You got to be a leader at quarterback, even if you don't like it. You got to go in there with some energy and get your guys, rally the troops, right? But I understand is all I'm saying. And I was questioning UTEP a lot offensively in that game. And so I don't know.
It just looks like everything's a struggle for them. And I don't know if that's schematically from a play calling perspective or if it's the roster, but I mean, at the end of the day, it all falls on the head coach. And then you flip sides to Liberty got a big win that honestly they really needed. I thought they'd end up winning because they started out moving the ball. I mean, you could just see it clear as day. You're like, all right, there's a team on this field that is just better than the other. And that was Liberty. Vasco, he played. I thought he played pretty well. Get out to a 19-0 start, and then I don't know if they just, started playing conservative. They're like, yeah, we got this one in the bag. Started rotating a bunch of other guys in the game to get him experience. But you get the win. It's what you needed. You're 1-1 in conference, and now you move on. But Vasco, I thought, protected the ball, ran the offense efficiently, and they were able to get a big conference win.
Yeah, well, it's a big one, and 1-1 with what happened to La Tech last night. Again, this conference is still just wide open. I mean, Western Kentucky seems to have a pretty good advantage at this point, but Let's talk about Thursday night. So I didn't, like I said, I didn't get to watch any of these. You see Kennesaw State 35, Louisiana Tech 7. And we got up here and we talked about how good this La Tech defense has played. And Dexter Williams, which was a hot topic as we were looking at that stat line in Statesboro and seeing Dexter Williams and Kennesaw. Did you get to watch much of that one?
Yeah, I watched quite a bit of it. And this is what I was a little bit worried about with La Tech, especially when I was looking at the lines yesterday, putting it in. I was like, home dogs, for some reason, these last 2 weeks have just really showed up. And Kennesaw had, ripped off 3 wins in a row. Didn't see Dexter Williams starting and playing, in the cards. But comes out and plays a fantastic game, 27-36, 290 yards, 4 touchdowns. And it, to me, seemed like the explosive plays were big for Kennesaw State. They had a bunch of them. But La Tech's offense just could not really get it going. And that was one thing that was concerning to me. Like, yeah, the defense has played well. One of the, obviously top in the conference, only allowing 13 points a game so far this year. And then I kind of looked at these games and thought, okay, are some of these a little bit outliers based off of the matchups that they played? And their offense hasn't, it's definitely scored at times, but it hasn't been like methodical, consistent every single game. And I was like, if they get into a situation where the offense isn't able to score, I'm not sure that the defense can really hold up like, some of the great defenses we've seen so far this season. And sure enough, you got to give credit to Kennesaw State, man. I mean, by the way, great schedule draw too. I believe they had 4 games in a row at home. Let me look at this. I was looking at that the other day. I was like, how'd they get that draw? Yeah, 4 games in a row at home. And good for them getting that done.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Well,
Bennett, 17 carries, 73 yards. Christian Moss. I mean, Coleman Bennett also had 55 yards receiving and a touchdown. Like, you could, and then that Kennesaw State defense that we saw. Like,
well, I'm telling you, when I saw Kennesaw in person, you look at them and you take away the thought that it's a newer program and it's their second year in the conference and this and that, and you look at their guys and they got some dudes out there, especially at the skill position, and that was when Odom was playing quarterback. So now you got all these schools that can't figure out a quarterback, and Kennesaw State, of all places, seems to have found themselves too. So I don't know what they do from here, though.
I mean, they got FIU on the road next. From everything we've seen so far, Kennesaw's going to be favored in that game.
Yeah, and rightfully so. What about the Jack State Sam Houston? I mean, Kennesaw La Tech, I thought would be a lot closer, and I thought La Tech would win. Jacksonville State Sam Houston, I thought Jack State would win, but I thought they would win handily.
I did too.
Sam Houston showed up to play a little bit.
They did, and Hunter Watson had a good night. 3 touchdowns passing. He didn't turn it over. He did put it on the ground twice and lost one of them. But this Sam Houston should have won this game. And you get down to the end of the game there. Sam Houston goes down. They score it. I think there's like a minute left on the clock. Jack State comes down and credit Caden Creel. Engineers, minute left, fourth quarter, come back, to win it drive. They get down there, and he makes a good throw on the run, scrambles out, gets a pass over the middle. They're down. I think there's like 7 seconds left. Call timeout. It's like a 57-yarder at this point.
Oh no.
And it's actually Sam. I can't remember if it was. Yeah, Jack State calls a timeout. They go out there, they line up, and Sam Houston, I believe, calls a timeout. Out of the timeout, the defense shows up in this like prevent. They're 15 yards off the ball, off the nearest receiver. Jack State throws a 5-yard out. There's nobody in front of them. gets out of bounds with 2 seconds left, and it gets them to a 52-yard field goal. And they kick it, and they win the game. And that is on, to me, that is on Phil Longo. That is on the defensive coordinator. You have to know the situation. They're not throwing a Hail Mary. And they just give up 5 free yards, and they kick a field goal and win the game. And Jack State's now 2-0 in conference, where they should be 1-1, and Sam Houston should have gotten their first win of the game or first win of the season.
Well, and that for Jack State, you want to talk about clock management and trusting your team, because a lot of people, I think, still try to kick it with 7 seconds. They say, that's not enough time for our offense. We might do something stupid here. And they might try to kick it, or they might try to throw a damn Hail Mary. But credit to them. Just get the quick yards and then kick it.
Garrison Ripa, lefty. Nailed it, man. I mean, he had
lefty kicker.
But that's the thing. If they don't give up those 5 free yards, I think it's because it was low. I mean, it got over that crossbar, but it wasn't by much. And Cam Cook just continues to, over 200 yards on the ground, 31 carries. And then Caden Crew added, over 100 yards as well. That's what they do, man. They pound the rock, but the defense, I thought their defense at the start of the year looked pretty good, but they're giving up a lot of yards, a lot of points.
Yeah. So let's talk about this East Carolina Tulane game. So I had that on in the during the game in the suite there, and Tulane just made every effort they could to give this game away, and I hate to tell you, but I was right. I told you they would come out like that. It just had all the makings of a game where they just come out. And now I didn't think they would drive down to the freaking 5-yard line 5 times in a row and score 12 points in the whole time. But I just had this feeling it would be sort of sloppy. Now they pulled out the win. But that first half, what was it? 260 total yards to 90, something like 94.
94. Our good friend Chuck Carson was live on the scene. He was like, this is the text he sends us, Sprouts. He goes, Tulane, 5 trips to the red zone, 4 field goals, and a fake field goal that was unsuccessful. 260 yards to 94, and it's 12-0.
12-0. And then East Carolina comes out in the second half, and they go right down the field, and then they do that little pooch kick that Tulane looked just totally lost when that happened. It took a weird bounce, but totally lost. You got to fair catch that thing.
Have to.
And then they go right down. Now they don't score there, but then then at the end of the game, so when Tulane goes and scores with 35 seconds left, we had some people kind of standing around watching it, and everybody was like, okay, now it's over. And then somebody came back like 30 seconds later, and he goes, how did they get down the field so fast? He said, 2 straight pass interferences. The 30 yards down the field, and then they damn near caught the Hail Mary. Just I don't know what to think about the game, because in a way, Tulane dominated East Carolina, but in another way, they played terribly at a lot of times. And then for East Carolina, credit their defense for bowing up in the red zone over and over and over again. But that really stout defense gave up a ton of yards.
They did. It was bend don't break, and that allowed them to be in the game, because honestly, this could have been 21-0.
It could have been 35-0.
Exactly. That's my point. Like, it could have been a whole lot worse, but it kept them in the game. But I had a feeling going into this, with Tulane's defensive front, they have some real dudes on that defensive line and at linebacker, and I wasn't quite sold on ECU on offense. Marlon Gunn had 52 yards. Like, I knew they weren't going to be able to run the ball very effectively, but I thought Hauser played well, didn't turn it over, had the touchdown. I don't know what to think about Tulane. Like,
I know.
I want them to be, you know, they are a great team. Do not get it twisted. They are finding ways to win. They're 5-1, 2-0 in conference. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter how it looks or how it happens. You're right there at the top of this conference. But you got to get touchdowns. 5 trips. You got to come away with 2 or 3 at minimum. Because when they get in a little bit deeper into this conference, it's going to be, you're going to need every touchdown you can get.
Well, and you're right. It's been these stints of sloppiness, whether it's South Alabama to open the game and then again to close the game, whether it's Duke where you're up big and you let them creep in at the end of the game, and then this one, and you're just looking at it and you're thinking, well, I mean, offensively, they moved the ball they did almost whatever they wanted offensively except score.
Yeah.
And so you look at the final score, you look at
offense.
Close
to 500 yards of offense.
Yeah, I mean, Retzlaff almost had a career day. And so you look at it and you think, okay, well, I mean, that's a positive, right? You think that offense is pretty good. But then the negative is like, you cannot be that bad in the red zone. You cannot be. And then I thought it was going to be the tale as old as time when Tulane's defense played lights out the first half, and I thought, this is what happens. The opening of the second half, I was sitting there, I was like, here we go again. When the Tulane defense is holding them every time, and the offense can't score, and then all of a sudden, the dam breaks. But then they bowed back up and settled back down, and then Tulane's offense finally got going again. But Juan in the chat. It's the most frustrating thing, man. And it normally goes like that. It normally goes where the defense, it plays well early and it's the offense that takes forever, and then it never fails. The end of the game, the offense will finally get it going, and then the next possession out is the one that the defense breaks. It never ever fails. And I mean, it's a frustrating thing, but that's this game that we love, Jeff. That's what it is. You got to play all 3 phases,
No doubt.
By the way, so here's what's pretty funny. So at the tailgate, we were watching something, and they were showing all the NFL coaches doing, talking about something, and they were talking about that all 3 phases. Every coach was like repeating the same thing. Well, anyway, Dan Campbell, my boy, came on there. Did you know? On my Facebook memories from like 2010 came up the other day, and I put on there. I had met. You might not know who Billy Corbin is.
Yeah,
Billy Corbin, the director that made the U and Cocaine Cowboys and all that stuff. I met him at the Nashville airport one night, and we were talking about the Dolphins. We were talking about Dan Campbell, and I said on Facebook, I said, Billy Corbin and I both agree that Dan Campbell is the next Don Shula. And then the Dolphins got rid of him, and here we are today. Our coach wears capris on the sideline, and Dan Campbell is, a hard ass, at least winning some games in Detroit. Anyway, Southern Miss, Georgia Southern. So this is why, for those of you that are just maybe tuning in, this is why I probably look and sound terribly. I went down there to Statesboro. Statesboro Sprouse got after it a little bit, and I left. Don't tell anybody, but I left Columbus at like 1:30 in the afternoon to get over there. Got down there, got to tailgate, and got to see some people, got to hang out, and then anyway went to the game. But dude, Southern Miss has some dudes. I mean, you can tell where they spent whatever NIL they got. I mean, they got some guys. That running back Pittman is a freaking unit, dude. I mean, just you want to talk about girth and tonnage. I mean, that guy, like, so it was a prototypical gluten calf test. So I'm walking down the sideline, and they got shirts on. So I don't know who's who, whatever. And I see him, and I said, oh my God. I was like, who is that? And then you could turn around in the back of the stairs, there's Zero Pittman. I said, oh, that's the damn running back. I'm like, oh boy. And he freaking runs like it too. He had a big day, 30-something carries, I think he had last
31, 140 on the ground, and 2 tugs.
Yeah, workhorse too. They had some D linemen that looked apart. And they had a ton of length and size in the defensive backfield too. And then, they had 3 interceptions. The DB or linebacker had one of them, but Moton had a pick. Of course, he's their big NFL shutdown corner. But as far as the game, I mean, if you looked at him in shorts and you looked at him pregame, you'd think, yeah, he's got Southern Miss written all over it. And then most of the game went that way. JC French, he had a tough time. Jeff. Behind on a lot of throws, late on a lot of throws, and threw 3 interceptions that were all pretty bad. I mean, pretty throw and catch to the DB or the defense. So, struggling. I'm honestly surprised they didn't try to go another route. Fans definitely wanted it. But that always worries me when you have a guy that's obviously struggling and you don't go another direction, because that tells me that they don't have anybody else. You know what I mean? And now they got a freshman that they're maybe just not wanting to play. But the seat is really hot there. It appears. Now I don't know from the inside, but
from a fan's perspective.
From a fan's perspective, for sure. And I mean, look, there does come a time. Like I was talking to people, and like I always want to give the coaches the benefit of the doubt, right? I always do. Because a lot of it I think has to do with how everybody treated stock at middle, and we always knew there was so much more to it than just we got to get rid of the coach. And so you don't know what's happening at every place, but that's always been the way I think about things. But again, like when you got a guy that's just doesn't have it, he just doesn't have it that night. You don't make any changes or you don't make any adjustments, or some of the play calls or some of the conservative play calling. It's hard to defend all the time. But then, so it got to be, I was sitting there thinking about my drive home, and it was on ESPN. So this was like the longest game. The first quarter was a full hour, like a full 1 hour of real time. And I'm sitting there looking at it. And of course it's an 8 p.m. kickoff. And I'm sitting there looking at the stupid TV time guy, the 3-minute timer every single time anything happens. And I'm like, so it got to be 28-7. And I'm like, all right, if it used to be 35-7, we'll take off. And then it just kept, then Georgia Southern would score. And then it always stayed at that 2 touchdown. And then it was 38-21 with like just a couple minutes left. And I'm like, all right, let's try to get back so I can get 2 hours of sleep instead of 1 hour. And we're walking, and as we're walking up the hill, so French throws his third pick, and then we're like, all right, let's go. And a lot of people were leaving. And then we get up the hill, and then Southern Miss is throwing the ball, and they turn it over. So I'm like, okay, well. And then before we get out of the stadium, Georgia Southern scores. So that's a 10-point game, but there's only 4 minutes left. So we're like, I mean, I don't know, dude. And I'm walking, and there's this other family walking out, and this guy's telling his wife or daughter, he's like, we packed the chair, we got to pack the cooler, we got to pack the chairs. And then I'm like, I look at him, I said, man, this is the game that you're gonna leave early, and it'd be just like the Marshall game from last year. And we're talking. He's like, I hope so. Well, then tell my buddy I was with, as soon as we get out of the parking lot and we get kind of out of Statesboro, I said, check that score. Make sure it's final. And it's 38-35 with 2 minutes to go. And I'm like, oh, man. So we put it on the phone. But at that point, then Southern Miss got one more first down and was able to put it away. But a wild comeback. But Georgia Southern just offensively, it was for Georgia Southern, it was the opposite. It was what we do talk about. Defense played pretty good to start the game, and the offense was doing nothing, and they kept turning it over, giving them field position, and then finally, when you got guys like that Jeff Pittman kid, you got these guys that just wear on you and wear on you and wear on you, and your offense is keeping you on the field, and then it breaks. But
yeah,
anyway.
Southern Miss, 4-2, 2-0 in conference. They look to be one of the top teams in the Sun Belt. If they can keep that momentum going, defense can step up a little bit and not allow 35 points. I mean, they're going to win. They're going to win a lot of games, and they're right there as one of the favorites.
Yeah, well, we went a little long there. We got a couple good games tonight, and then we got a pretty good Saturday game. We're going to talk about the ones we already talked on Wednesday about the double-digit spreads. So we're not going to hit those. Talk about the other ones today. We'll try to roll through them. But tonight, the big one, sold out, by the way, in Denton, Texas.
It's awesome.
Mean Green sold out. South Florida, 1.5 favorites on the road against North Texas. 67.5 on the over-under. My initial thought on this, I like this North Texas team a lot, but I think there's a little bit, I think there's another level to South Florida. I think what we have right now in the American is I think you have South Florida and Memphis have proven that they're just they're at a different level. And then I think right below is where you have Tulane, North Texas, East Carolina in that mix. And then below that, you mean UTSA and some of those guys. I feel like this game could go a lot like the Tulane East Carolina game went, where South Florida might clearly be the better team, but they just, like they did against Charlotte last week, they kind of BS around, and that's going to keep North Texas around. And if you let North Texas stay around, they can go score on you quick. So I'm a little worried for South Florida. I think they're the better team, and I think that if they're locked in, I think they roll. I do. But I just have a feeling there's going to be some sloppiness to it, just like with Tulane last night.
Yeah, 67.5 is the total. I feel like that's really high. I know you're looking at North Texas's offense and South Florida's offense with Byron Brown, but I also think both these defenses are very, very talented, and I could see that under being a pretty good number to go after. Love North Texas at home. They're a bit of a home dog, not by much. It's basically a pick 'em. I think South Florida has the athletes. They should win this game. But it wouldn't shock me if North Texas can hang around and steal one late. But it's a great benchmark measuring stick game for both of these programs because we've seen them play well against different competition. Obviously, South Florida gets the big win against Florida. But this is when it matters. This is a huge game on primetime television. I believe South Florida gets it done. But if they end up winning by 2 scores or more, I think that will be a huge statement in this conference and just nationally for the top group of 5 team to represent in the playoff.
I agree. And every time our friends over there at ESPN bring up a group of 5 graphic, it has North Texas as like the higher odds to make the playoff. And so I think from it's Friday night. It's only, that's what everybody's going to be watching it. So everybody's going to see these guys. And if you come out the way you did against Charlotte, even if you win, if you're South Florida, it's going to be like, yeah, they're not. You can tell, you know what I mean? You watch some of these teams and you think, yeah, they won, but it wasn't very pretty. They didn't look that great. But I think from a, dude for dude, athlete for athlete type of deal, I think South Florida's got the better team. I mean, that roster's loaded. They spent a bunch of money. So I like South Florida tonight. Can't wait to watch it though.
Yeah.
Fresno State at Colorado State, another home dog for you, Jeff. It's funny, Fresno State, you have this perception because it's Fresno State of just this high-powered offense, David Carr, Derek Carr, Jake Haener, and then EJ Warner, who also can throw it. But it's been their defense this year that's been really good for Fresno. Yeah, which is awesome, which I love. And I just think there'll be too much. Colorado State hasn't done anything good this year, really. I think Fresno State on the road gets it done.
I agree with you. I mean, second ranked defense in the Mountain West, only allowing 19.5 points per game. Colorado State's offense has struggled. They don't really have much of an identity. Can't really run the ball. You know, they try. They're committed to it, but it's been tough sledding. And then, you mentioned, Eli Warner has played well, has kind of limited his turnovers from what we've seen in the past. And then just that stable of running backs, they've been able to pound it. They seem to have an identity, and I think that carries them in this game.
Yep. Saturday, we got a bunch of games. Navy at Temple in the American. Temple coming off of that huge win. I just think too much Horvath, too much Heidenreich. I think Navy, my prediction of Navy being undefeated by the time they get to Notre Dame is potentially going to come true.
This game worries me a little bit.
Yeah,
it does. I mean, Evan Simon has played great this year. Casey Keeler has got Temple at a spot where I don't think they've been in a really long time. And we've seen Navy at times kind of underwhelm. Last week was awesome, right? The offense looked unstoppable. It was back and forth, but that defense has given up quite a few points this year. Home dog, man. It's been like the theme of the last 2 weeks. I think Navy wins this game, but I think this game is incredibly close. And if Temple finds a way to win, it would not shock me. I don't like the 8.5. Put it that way.
Yeah. Boy, if Temple finds a way to win, can we get some damn fans for the Owls? The Eagles played last night, didn't they?
Yeah, they
NFL
lost
Eagles
to the Giants.
They lost, huh?
Jackson Dart and Cam Scattybo.
Jackson Dart, you say?
Huh?
I thought they should have drafted somebody else there, is what I was told. He's 2-0 though, Jackson Dart, isn't he?
Yes, he
As
is.
a starter.
Yes, he is.
How about that? Yeah. How about we get those wild ass snowball throwing Eagles fans to start supporting Temple? We get that. I'll tell you, we've been talking about that Northeast corridor.
Bills and Eagles fans.
Yeah. Bills fans, Eagles fans, Ravens fans, get out there to Navy and start supporting them. Joe Flacco faithful, get out there and support Delaware. UAB at FAU. FAU offense starting to get it going a little bit. And UAB, I think this could be, you can see a lot of points here. 69.5. That's a lot. But I think FAU will keep it going at home.
I hope so. Every time I feel like I'm ready to jump back on FIU or I don't know why I was going to say FIU. FAU's bandwagon in that offense, then they kind of start slow and don't score. So Dilfer it seems like every week there's something that comes out with him. And
there's got to be some prop bets with Dilfer of like how long he's going to have his phone out or something like that. Or,
I saw this interview where he had a piece of paper and he drew one singular dot on it. He's like, "What do you see?" He's like, the reporter's like, a dot. He goes, "Of course, that's all you see." See, that's the problem. Look at the entire page is white, but all you see is the dot. Because it's negativity. Breeds more negativity. We're not going to be negative.
It would be great if he freaking started winning because he's great when he's like, those are great. Yeah. And that stuff's cool if you're winning.
Yeah.
Anyway, Toledo Bowling Green, big rivalry game. We went to this game last year at Toledo. Road team has won the last 4 of these. Toledo leads the all-time series 43-42, and I think there's been 4 ties. This is an awesome game. Brian Blair, the AD at Toledo, told us that would be the game to go to last year. We went. Toledo lost, but it lived up. A great crowd, great scene, great atmosphere. It'll be like that again at Bowling Green. Unfortunately for Bowling Green, I think last year was a much more even matchup. Bowling Green won. I think Toledo's quite a bit better. this year, and they've already had their game that they slip up on, so it's too late for everybody else. I think Toledo.
I agree with you. Their defense is stout. Their offense has played great. You know, they've had a couple games where they kind of didn't show up, but Chip Trayanum has been dominant all season long. I think they continue to ride him, and Tucker Gleason is just a winner. He's gritty. I think they get revenge from a year ago because you got a lot of players on that roster that remember that loss.
Yeah. NIU at Eastern Michigan. Northern Illinois offense is horrendous. 11 points a game they're scoring. Their defense is pretty good. But then Eastern Michigan, their defense is horrible. And their offense is sort of middle of the road. They can move it a little bit. So you got this NIU defense, Eastern Michigan offense are both okay. And then you got the NIU offense and the Eastern Michigan defense that are both horrible. So something's got to give this week. I don't know where to go. I kind of have I kind of like Eastern Michigan.
I'm going Eastern Michigan solely because the home dogs, for whatever reason, have been coming through.
NIU just can't score. So Eastern Michigan, you score 14 points, you're gonna win the game.
Eastern Michigan's defense ain't very good.
No, it ain't.
So yeah, this is a prototypical MAC, just kind of gritty, down and dirty type of game. I'm gonna go Eastern Michigan on this one just because they're the home dog. But I'm not great about it. It is a coin flip game to me.
Yeah, and I'm just upset this game is not on a Tuesday. This is the kind of game you want to see on Tuesday night on CBS Sports or something. UMass is another one. UMass at Kent State. Kent State favored in the game by 2.5. Jeff, there are 136 teams in the FBS. Kent State is the 134th offense and the 136th defense. UMass, on the other hand, is the 136th offense and the 124th defense. So you have not even arguably, according to the numbers, the worst two teams in college football playing. And that means we're going to get fireworks, buddy.
I could see a ton of crazy scores in this game.
Yeah. Special teams.
Yeah. Special teams, fumbles, picks, all the things, right? I think Kent State gets their second win of the year. UMass is just they have struggled all year long, and I'm going to roll with Kent State on this one.
I'm not getting the second wind I thought I was going to get, Jeff. God, dude. Ball State at Western Michigan. Hey, I like this Western Michigan defense, by the way. The last 3 games, 3 points, 14 points, 13 points. And after they beat Ball State, they will be on a 4-game winning streak with Western Michigan. So give me them all day long.
Yeah. Brock Lowry, hasn't overwhelmed in the past game, but he's protected the ball. He's been one of the team's leading rushers as well. We've talked about Jalen Buckley for the last couple of years. Love him. But it's been their defense, man. Their defense has looked well, has held teams, other opposing offenses. They should be able to get it done. But K.O. Kelly, quarterback for Ball State, he's a dual threat guy, can run around, had a big win against Ohio. Always gives you a chance. But I think Western Michigan is the better overall team in all 3 phases.
Yep, agreed. Air Force at UNLV. This one's a little interesting to me because it's such a shame for Air Force. They finally, we talked about this last week, is like what we were talking about earlier with the East Carolina game. But Air Force has done it over multiple seasons. The offense finally has figured it out, and now the defense is bad. And so that worries me for Air Force. I think we could see quite a bit of points here. UNLV, I just think is too much on offense. Now I say all that. It's now probably Air Force is probably going to figure it out on defense, and UNLV will come out slow. But it's not where my head's at right now. I think UNLV too much offense. I think a lot of points. I think this is a 38-27, maybe a 49-35 kind of game. But I'll take the Rebels.
Yeah, the Rebels should win this game. Calandria is a dynamic player. He's looked great for most of the season. They're 6.5-point favorites at home. I like that line. They should cover that. But then we've seen them play Miami of Ohio, and it was a slugfest. So in this game, with the way Air Force plays, I love Liam Zarka. I mean, I think he's going to be one of the next great Air Force quarterbacks in years to come. He's only a sophomore. You're gonna get scoring in this game, but I think the Rebels cover that 6.5, 1 touchdown.
Yeah, I would agree. San Jose State at Wyoming. Which San Jose State team are we going to get? Are we going to get the one we saw last week? Is about the only time we've gotten that version. And then for Wyoming, I believe I looked, and maybe I dreamt it. Maybe I was asleep. Maybe I fell asleep on the drive last night. But I think we're going to get decent weather. I don't think they're going to have sleet and all the cold and whatever they had last week in Wyoming. So I think San Jose State will get the win on the road.
Yeah, they should. 2.5 point favorites. If Walker Egan plays like he did a week ago, I mean, he played as bad a perfect of a game throwing the football as we've seen. And that was the offense we thought was going to start the season out that way. So if they can build on that, continue to play offensively like that, both throwing and running the ball, they should take care of Wyoming. No problem.
Yep. San Diego State at Nevada. San Diego State, we've been talking about them now for a couple of weeks. They've been coming on. This is what I want to point out about the Aztecs. Here's some scores of the games that they've won. They've won a game 6-3. They've also won games 45-24, 34-0, and 42-0. So they've won ugly, no offense, put it on the back of your defense. They've won 6-3, and they've also won by scoring 45 points. But the constant has been this defense has been good every single week. And now the offense is starting to come on, and this is what we've talked about. If they can click, this team can be scary. And Nevada's a perfect opportunity to keep the offense rolling.
Yeah, defense is stout. They had 280 yards on the ground a week ago with 200-yard rushers and Cardwell and Sutton. And then Jaden Denegal, 256 yards and 2 touchdowns in the air. This Sean Lewis offense, if they can continue to do this, even half of that production with their defense, they are going to win a lot of games. They are going to be in the Mountain West contention for the title. I like the Aztecs big. I mean, I think Colorado State's a better team than Nevada is, top to bottom, and they beat them by, multiple scores.
Well, and may I just add that if you're looking at Mountain West or Pac whatever destinations to play, and you have your choice to go somewhere, and San Diego State is winning, and you want to play defense or you want to play offense for Sean Lewis, San Diego would be a just fine place to spend your days.
It's beautiful down there in San Diego.
No doubt about it. Utah State at Hawaii. This one is going to be a freaking awesome game. Utah State, I think you're the one that brought it to light because we were trying to do our rankings and we were like, where do we put Utah State? Because they're flying under the radar because they've got a couple of losses to Vandy and Texas A&M is their other loss. And they weren't
respectable losses too.
Yeah, neither of them were bad. They scored some points in that game. Bryson Barnes has been phenomenal. 11 touchdowns, only 1 interception, and then another 6 rushing touchdowns for him. Now they're at Hawaii, which, we know that this year is the first year that, far travel has started to affect teams. The Mountain West teams haven't been doing it for a decade and a half, but I am a little worried about that. The travel makes me lean Hawaii. But I'm gonna stick with my gut here. I think Utah State is gonna start rolling a little bit.
They've looked consistent to me week in and week out. They had the bye a week ago because they were traveling out to Hawaii. Bryson Barnes with his legs and his arm has been phenomenal. I think they go out to Hawaii and get the win. Even though I've been a big fan of the Rainbow Warriors. They can spin it. They can put up points. I just think Utah State's defense has been very good this year. So I think they're a more complete team than Hawaii.
Yeah, I agree. App State at Georgia State in Atlanta from the former Turner Field. Center Park Stadium is what it is called now. I talked about this after App State won last week. I think App State's going to get on a nice little streak here. They'll be pushing 5-2 here after a couple of weeks, and Mountaineer faithful will be very happy with that. And Georgia State, I just don't know. I don't know why they can't ever seem to put it all together.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a slugfest type of game. App State obviously got the win over Oregon State a week ago, but I mean they tried to give it away, and it's like a team of two halves. Whether it's the first half they play great and then look lackluster in the second, or flip the coin and they start out slow and then make a comeback later. I'm going to go App just because I think they're better top to bottom, position group by position group. But I'm not confident about that. I'm really not. I mean, Georgia State, we saw them play James Madison, who I think is the best team in the Sun Belt. Very, very tight.
Yeah.
Very tight at home.
It'd be interesting. You're going to have to bring your own juice. There'll probably be more App State fans in Atlanta than Georgia State fans. So you have to get excited when you play there. Monroe at Coastal. The only reason I even have any thought that Coastal can win this game is because of their win against South Alabama. I think Monroe is just going to run it. I think they're going to control the clock, control possession. Coastal is not in a good spot.
No, they're not. And Brian Vincent has done a great job at Monroe. I mean, this is the most competitive they have been, and I can't tell you how long. I think the Warhawks come in. I think they win by touchdown or two. I really do. I think the fan base is kind of checked out. Coastal hadn't looked good since that South Alabama game. Quarterback situation is a problem. Can't score. I mean, it's just been tough sledding, and I just think the South game was an outlier. I think it was just a game where they got hot and scored some points. But yeah, give me the Warhawks.
Yeah, I agree. Last one, Troy at Texas State. Boy, this turned out to be a huge game with Texas State losing, Troy winning. So now you're looking at this Sun Belt West. If Troy comes away with a win here, might put Texas State away and come out with a 2-game lead over the Bobcats if you're Troy. And you got Southern Miss sitting over there. So the West is still completely up for grabs. I think Texas State's got too much, and I think there'll be a little wake-up call last week, right? And I think they'll win. I think, but you just never know. I still don't know about Troy. Even them at the game last week, and they didn't look great, but they found a way to win. They got dominated on the line of scrimmage. They still win the game. Kilcrease started to get some confidence going. So we'll see.
I think Troy is coached very well. Feel like they kind of take the identity of Coach Parker, but the talent at Texas State, especially offensively at the skill position with Bo Sparks and Lincoln Perry and Chris Don, I think it's going to be too much. They go up tempo. You got Brad Jackson who can run around and make plays with his legs. I think it's just a lot to overcome if you're Troy. And if it gets to be a bit of a shootout, I'm not sure Troy can keep up offensively.
I agree with you. Well, Jeff, do we have any voicemails today?
We got two
voicemails. Let's get to those. And you guys, you know the drill. After tonight, I want to hear we get some North Texas, South Florida callers calling in after tonight or before tonight, maybe before and after tonight. Maybe you'll change your tune between a couple of hour span here. 615-900-4286. See what we got here, Jeff.
Group of 5 guys, what's going on? This is Wyoming Den. Been a while since I called into you guys because I've been dealing with the Twins, future Wyoming Cowboys. Just got to say, Sprouse, you probably don't remember talking about it, but you nailed it. This is baby number 4 and 5 for us.
You see?
Been laying low for a little while, trying to figure out what this team's about, but after watching this last game, to quote the contemporary philosopher Cameron Ward, if we are keeping it a buck, right now we are ass. You can't give up 2 punt blocks for a touchdown at home to lose a game. I mean, we lost by 14 points. We had a touchdown called back off of what I thought was kind of a bullshit call, calling pass interference, offensive pass interference. And then very next play, we throw a pick in the red zone. And then the 2 touchdowns we gave up on special teams, you just can't have that. I mean, you got the hailstorm you wanted in Laramie. It looked like snow. The whole country's freaking out, thinking there's snow on the ground in Laramie.
I thought it
It's
was
just hail, guys. Calm down. But that should have worked towards our benefit, and it didn't. But I'll tell you what right now. I got a feeling. We're going to beat San Jose State this weekend.
Ooh.
Nothing analytical tells me that, but just the old gut feeling. All right. God bless Group 5 guys. God bless Group 5. Go Pokes.
Good to hear from you, Wyoming Ben.
That's what happens, Jeff. Not only do I know ball, Jeff, I know this thing we call life.
Hey,
When you have 3 kids and you try for that 4th one, you go get twins, dude. You're gonna get it. You think, okay, we'll get one more. Maybe we got all girls, or maybe we got all boys. We're gonna try for one more. You're gonna get freaking twins.
Twins, Basil.
But I thought it was snow. I mean, when it hails, I saw a picture. The whole field was white. Hail doesn't do that, at least not here. Where I'm from, you get a couple of golf balls out there in the yard, and that's it.
Well, hail. I mean, I figured it'd be worse to play on hail than it would be snow.
You gotta, by the way, be hitting you in the helmet.
Yeah, slipping and sliding around. It's basically ice.
Talk about player safety. You're getting a freaking golf ball sized hail hitting you in the face. You got to go with your gut, dude. Like when he's talking about a lot of times, and maybe we're wrong a lot of times, but that's how I'm sitting there. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, they're better, but it's one of those games where, but there is some analytics to it. There is, where you're playing, what day of the week you're playing, who you're playing next week, who you played last week, I don't know. I like that pick though. I'll switch. I'll go Wyoming.
All right, you go Wyoming then. You do that, pal.
Yeah, I will.
All right, let's get to our last one. Good to hear from you, Ben.
Congratulations, by the way.
Hey, fellas, Group of 5 guys. Morgan here, resident Tulane fan. Well, Sprouse, you were right. I don't know how you came up with that prediction, but boy, that was a weird one tonight.
Yeah.
I can't remember being this pissed off about the win in maybe ever. 23 penalties and bad execution down in the red zone. Four field goals within the 10, 15-yard line, and turns out 4 made field goals was a program record in the first half. Whoever knew that. Anyway, glad to get the win, but man, there's just so much to clean up. The penalties and the small executions, and it's hard to get too mad at Jake and got here so late into the summer, but there was just a lot of what looked like mischemistry, miscommunication issues just across the offense, the inability to run the ball. I thought we were not very creative there as far as the play calling goes. You'd like to see little, counter plays or, pull a guard, pull a tackle, do a little, swing, shovel pass, and instead it felt like we ran the ball up the gut 20 times for 60 yards. But anyway, glad we got the win. Was really happy to see Trey Shackelford start to get some run. We needed another possession receiver like that, and he had a really good game. Zycar Lewis with the game-saving, 50-yard bomb for a touchdown. Really needed that. And obviously special teams played really well. Thought the defense got a little tired at the end, but we definitely are on the up and up there. I mean, to sack Hauser for 3 times in the first half and put a lot of pressure on their offense. So, happy for the win. Mad about how we played, but sort of like March Madness, right? Survive and advance. Anyway, great as always, fellas. Love what y'all do, and talk soon. Bye.
Appreciate you, Morgan. Yeah, Tulane, their run game hasn't been good this year, and I don't know if that's the offensive line or the running backs. I think it's been.
If only they had a back that was set for 2,000 yards this year.
There's been one on Oregon's bench.
Wouldn't that be something? Paying taxes in Oregon too, by the way. Yikes. I mean, Jeff, 2 phone calls, 2. Sprouse, you were right again. I got started to make my wife listen to the show because I tell you what, dude, what is funny about that is that was a complete just gut thing though. Like the Wyoming Ben said, it's like, I don't know, no real reason. It just seems like this is the way it's going to be. By the way, Tulane fans, what the hell was that about? Did I miss students? Where? Let me guess. Fall break.
I don't know. They sort of showed up middle of the first quarter. I think Green Wave Man posted a picture. He was like, "Oh, well, this is a little bit better," but they weren't there to start.
No, they weren't. And once again, shout out to the Georgia Southern students because they showed up. Now they left, but game looked like it was out of hand.
Yeah.
A Thursday night, it's a big blue room night for those kids. I get it. Thursday night for us, big Whiskey Dicks night, Jeff.
It was.
So, not a whole lot you could say about that, but it's so interesting. And again, we talk about this every single season. The reasons people say that they don't go to games, whatever the reason is, there's always somewhere else that could have that same excuse and they do show up. So I just, the excuses don't help, you know what I mean? They don't help settle they don't help settle me down when I'm pissed about fans not showing up. But,
culture and tradition, Sprouse.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of it from a university standpoint. And because I bet a lot of those at Georgia Southern are Greeks.
Well, Greek life is a big key. And that, talk about middle, that was about when you could timestamp the downfall.
It was.
Is kicking Greeks off campus and replacing them with whatever lives there now.
Few sororities and foreign exchange students.
Foreign exchange nursing program that has the fraternity row now. So anyway, that's all we got, Jeff. We got through it. I'll survive. I'm going to go get some Manuka honey. You seen that crap? There's $40 Manuka honey at the store. It's a cure-all. You take it for anything. Jeez. That and ivermectin, whatever you get, just take one of those.
Yeah, I get this for my horses, ivermectin.
Yeah, I know, dude. Anyway, that's all we got for you guys today. Appreciate you guys watching. Can't wait to be back on the couch tonight watching games. We'll be tweeting left and right. We'll put a few bets in on the Levels Discord, so make sure you check that out. Follow all the socials at Group of Five Guys. Subscribe to the channel, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Believe Network. Hope you had a great week. Have a fantastic Friday and a fantastic college football weekend. We'll see you Monday morning.